Alright, y'all, what's up? Welcome to the Demon's Tea Room. We are going to chillax for just a minute, let everybody come in, grab a table, grab the drink, sit down, and get ready for another episode of the Demon's Tea Room. There's Dana, there's Tammy. What's up, y'all? What's up? Afternoon. There's Rachel. There's Misty. What's up? My brother Drew, may I respect and love, brother man, to you and the fam. My boy Brian, out there in the great sunny state of Florida. Miss Sabrina, much love. Casey, welcome. Come in, sit down, grab yourself a drink. Welcome to the Demon's Tea Room. And I know I'm drinking the ever so strong and potent Diet Mountain Dew. Miss Tina, what's up? Sam, great to see you. Christy, how you doing? From Vermont, the Great White North. Up there protecting the wall. Yeah, no. Too cold. My brother Zac, Flora, welcome, y'all. Seeing some new names. Welcome to the Demon's Tea Room, y'all. Looks like we're starting to get some people in, sitting down, chillaxing at the tables. My brother Daniel. Yep, I'm watching that girlish figure. The actual only girlish figure I'm watching is in there passed out on the couch because we stayed up all night watching Troy, the Fall of the City. Good show. Evie and I might be slight history nerds, especially when it comes to antiquity. And all history, for that matter. What's up, my brother Christopher. Alright, y'all, we're going to get started here in just a second. There's Miss Julia Fox, my second mom. My brother Hewitt. Miss Kimberly. What's up, y'all? Alright, guys. So today, today is Terror Tuesday. So, we are going to go into, what's up? Shout out to New Jersey for Tawny. We're going to talk about Zac and Addy. Now, this is a paranormal story as well as a murder story. But there's a couple of reasons I decided to throw in Zac and Addy. Now, this is in the history of what we're talking about, is relatively recent kind of story compared to what we normally talk about in the tea room. And this goes back to, we're going to go all the way back to 2005, Katrina. Now, the other reason I want to do this story is I want to spotlight mental health right now as well as what we normally do. Because it's real easy to get off down deep, dark rabbit holes while we are all locked down and secluded. And this story kind of rings of this very same exact kind of situation and how things can escalate and then go bad quickly. So, Zac and I, now also keep in mind, y'all, I'm going to be not so much guarded in my words as just careful as I say, keeping in mind, I having been living here for over a decade now, are friends with, and a lot of us are here in the Crescent City Halo, friends with people who knew Zac and Addy. and Addy Hall and Zach Bowen. And their friends are still around. And so, to me, it's not a, how should I say, it's not a car accident story where everybody's slowing down trying to look at the car accident. It's a telling their story kind of thing. Now, Zac and Addy. Pre-Katrina, Zach Bowen had lived here in New Orleans since the early 2000s, around 2000. Joined the United States Army, and was deployed to Iraq. When he came back here to New Orleans. Well, August 2005 hits, and there's a big nasty sitting right off the coast by the name of Katrina. Now, people believe that Zac and Addy knew each other in passing here in New Orleans pre-Katrina, which, you spend any time here at all, you might not know everybody but name, but down in the quarter, you get to recognize faces really quickly. So it's not a huge leap to think that they knew each other. Anyway, so Hurricane Katrina comes rolling in. Zac and Addy hold up in an apartment there on Governor Nichols, and they ride the storm out together. Now, in the aftermath of Katrina, keep in mind, power's knocked out, town's devastated, we know the story. Zac and Addy stayed there in the quarter and hunkered down in the quarter, and keep in mind, no AC, no anything like that, so they hung out on Governor Nichols and basically did this survivalist thing. Well, as mainstream news started to make their way into New Orleans, here's Zac and Addy. And they basically became the poster children of the doggest, I don't know if that's a word. It is now. Survivors' way of thinking here in New Orleans after Katrina. And their pictures and their story went out across the country. In fact, if you go out there and do some hunting, you can still find, like it was NBC and some of the others actually did full-blown pieces on them, and they're still out there on the internet around. You can see the interviews with Zac and Addy. Now, jump ahead to the reconstruction of the city of New Orleans. Now, not long after Katrina, a couple months or so, Zac and Addy were evicted out of the apartment there on Governor Nichols and moved into 826 North Rampart Street, right there across from Congo Square and Louis Armstrong Park and all that area. Now, at the time, they moved into a small little apartment on the second floor, which was right above the Orleans Voodoo Spiritual Temple, which is one of our voodoo shops here in small church there in the quarter. Now, having talked to people about Zac and Addy, doing some in-depth research, I find the story fascinating. Zac and Addy had issues, to say the least. And not to speak ill of the dead, because I won't do that unless they deserve it. Addy was known around town to have a fiery temper, especially when she drank. She could get almost downright abusive. Zac stood probably 6'4", 6'5", very large framed individual. But not diving off into all of that. Addy was a bartender, as was Zac here in town, as most people who at that time service industry that lived in the quarter were. Well, jump ahead to August, September 2006. Now, they had talked off and on. People remember hearing them talking off and on, especially Zac, about wanting to break it off with Addy, and all those kinds of things. But they always ended up coming back together. They always ended up rectifying their issues and going back to each other. And from what everybody said, there was one of those relationships that was very toxic, and they brought out the worst in each other. Now, late September of 2006, people start noticing Zac in the quarter without Addy. So, they're asking questions. Yo, Zac, where's Addy at, man? Oh, man, she's at home. She's not feeling good. She decided not to come out tonight. All right, cool. So this went off and on for a couple of weeks. And nobody'd seen Addy. Every time they asked Zac about it, he had some excuse. She wasn't feeling good. She had gone back to her parents' house, that sort of thing. So, on the night of October 17th, around 8:30 p.m., there at the Omni Royal Hotel, down in the corner. Now, keep in mind, y'all, there's a whole lot more to this story, and if you guys would like a solid, and I might just do a YouTube video on the Zac and Addy story, because I find it fascinating. I've gotten every book so far that's been written on it, done my own research. Like I said, I know some of the people who are friends with Zac and Addy. I find the story very, very interesting. October 17th, around 8:30 p.m., witnesses there at the Omni Royal Hotel on Charters down in the quarter saw Zac Bowen. Apparently, he'd gone out that night. He'd gone out earlier with a friend of his. They've been doing some power drinking, doing some lines of some nose candy, and Zac was making it rain with the money at a couple of the stripper clubs down on Bourbon Street. And from what his friend had said, he parted with Zac earlier that evening. Zac said he was going to hang out and continue to keep drinking, and his buddy went home. Now, around 8:30 that night, witnesses there on the bar, and I'm not sure the name of the bar, and I apologize, on the top floor of the Omni Royal Hotel, witnessed Zac walking around the bar. Well, when someone walked up to him and asked him, "Hey, dude, you all right?" "Yeah, no, I'm fine. He kept pacing back and forth, and he'd ordered multiple drinks there at the bar. Well, after a little while, bartender doesn't notice him anymore. Bartender thinks, great, skipped out on his tab. This is an issue. Well, when they went back, they started noticing there was commotion down on the street, and what ended up happening is Zac had walked to the edge, and he kept walking over the edge and looking over, and he'd walk back, and he'd talk to himself and mutter to himself, and he'd walk over the edge and look again. Well, apparently, when nobody had really been looking, over the edge Zac went. And he landed on the parking garage right next door to the Omni Royal Hotel. And so, New Orleans PD's called, of course. PD shows up for a suicide. Identify him as Zac Bowen, because in his pocket was a set of keys, his military ID, a folded up letter in a Ziploc baggie. And so at this point, they're running this as just a suicide. Well, detectives get on scene, open up the Ziploc bag, and they start reading the note. It very rapidly went from just suicide. And there is a copy of the note. You can read the note. But basically, he gives the 826 North Rampart address and says, I can't live with it anymore with what I've done. Please go to 826 North Rampart. You will understand. So the officers split off, head for 826 North Rampart. They make contact with the landlord. Landlord meets them there at the gate. They open up the gate, they go inside. As they're going up the stairwells up to the second floor, they notice black spray paint has been spray painted on the stairwell going up. An arrow. Make their way into the house. Got the keys, they open the door, go inside. Small little apartment. I do have some pictures I can post online of me going in and doing a walk around in the apartment. Going to the apartment, they find things spray painted on the wall in black spray paint. I can't live with this anymore. And multiple messages spray painted across the walls. They notice as they go in, on the living room wall it says, check the kitchen with an arrow. So they walk into the small little kitchen and they find sitting on the stove, big huge boiling pot, signs on spray painted on the oven door, check in here. They open up the doors, which is where they find Addy's legs and hands cut. Open up the pot. They find what looks like a head that has been burned very, very badly. And in the oven, or in the refrigerator, they find a big, huge, like basically a turkey basting pot with Addy's torso. On the wall, spray painted, pointing back towards the bathroom, is another arrow. They walk into the bathroom, sign or arrow spray paint on the wall, pointing down, says, I did it here. I can no longer live with myself. Come to find out, Zac and Addy had a fight, is what we believe. At some point, Zac had choked Addy, killing her. And then apparently, from the reports that are out there, had her in the apartment for up to 2 weeks. They believe it was about a week before he decided that he had an issue and had to figure out how to get rid of the body, and he tried dismembering it. Now, like I said, I'm going to be careful on what I say because there are reports out there, different reports. It was put out in the press that Zac had actually eaten on her. A lot of people don't believe that. And like I said, we're not going to get off into that. That gets way too dark way too quickly on a story that is still relatively fresh, even though it's been 16 years, 15 years. That's still fresh. But try and show a little bit of decorum here in the tea room. So that was all removed. And now the messed up, jacked up part about this is the apartment is still there today. Today, that building is, I'm not sure, owned or rented by Bloody Mary. And she runs her tour company out of the first floor. And she gives tours of the second floor, the Zac and Addy apartment, from what I'm told. Also, they've done investigations up there on the second floor of the Zac and Addy house. Nick Groff, one of the former members of the Ghost Adventures team, he had a television show called 72 Hour Lockdown, where they did a 72-hour lockdown there in the Zac and Addy apartment. And multiple teams have picked up that Addy is still attached to that apartment, and as well as a small African-American child who his spirit is attached to the house, but he hides out a lot. He doesn't like to make himself known that much. Addy will make herself known up on the second floor. Now, personal experience-wise, during my tours of Murder and Mayhem here in the city, I would do the Zac and Addy story, and I would do this story in the shadows. Brian went by there before Bloody Mary bought it. He's who I got some of my pictures through. Oh, come on, Hewitt. Let me take you in there, lock you down, let you do an isolation session by yourself up there in the room. We'll be on the other end of the video feed. We got your back. Personal experience, like I said, when I was doing this tour for Murder and Mayhem, I would do my part of the tour in the shadows right there at the Omni Royal Hotel with being able to look up right there at the parking garage. And as a paranormal investigator, I tried using a trigger object a couple times, and it worked. And the trigger object is I had Zac's letter that was found in his pocket the day he committed suicide. So I'd read that letter in the shadows of the Omni Royal Hotel. And it was not uncommon for us to be taking pictures. My guests would take pictures of the Omni Royal. Keeping in mind, let me set the stage for you. You're standing in front of the Omni Royal, to the side of it actually. Parking garage is here. Omni Royal's here. Charters runs right beside us. It's a one-way street, all right? So traffic is coming towards us, not from behind us. And when we got into some of our pictures, multiple pictures from multiple different people, is what looks like a blue light right on the wall of the Omni Royal Hotel. Keep in mind, there's no windows on that part of the hotel. You can see the bar way up on top, but there's no windows. And multiple people, myself included, have picked up what looks like a blue figure falling there at the Omni Royal Hotel. So one of the theories is we know Zac is still there, and he does show himself occasionally at the 826 North Rampart house. But we believe that Zac is stuck in a loop, reliving that suicide in the hours preceding his suicide. So it's a very, very sad story, y'all. It's one of those stories as a paranormal investigator that you're not dealing with history that was 100 years ago. You're talking 15, 16 years. And the people who were friends with Zac and Addy are still around. So I personally try and show a little bit of decorum when doing this story. And it's a very, very, very sad story. No matter what triggered it, at the end, destination's the same. So I wanted to not only tell you guys this story because I find it a fascinating and interesting story, both as a murder story as well as a paranormal story, but as a cautionary tale. Because keep in mind, y'all, Zac and Addy started out much the same way all of us are doing, where they're being locked down, secluded for a disaster. So, watch your mental health out there, guys, alright? If you need to take a break, you need to do something, you need to talk to somebody, talk to somebody. I mean, yesterday I needed to take a small break. I was in a bad headspace, so I just needed a break. And you guys were lovely enough to give me a chance to take that break. So just kind of watch out for each other out there. Because the stress is going to start cranking up. It's already started. And just take it as a cautionary tale. So when you guys get a chance, once we're done with all this, let me know when you're down here. I don't do the Murder Mayhem tours anymore, but I'm more than willing to take people by the 826 North Rampart house and talk about Zac and Addy. To me, I think it's a way to honor a couple of humans' lives, to keep their story alive and what happened. No judgment. That's not my place to judge. It's not any of our places to judge. Just a storyteller. It's our job to keep the stories and the history alive. So, just a little tidbit about Zac. And like I said, I saw a couple of you guys who said you were interested in me doing a YouTube video on that. So I will start putting that kind of stuff together. And I'll do a longer story on Zac and Addy for you guys, and we'll put it on the YouTube channel. Update here in the hot zone. Numbers still cranking up. Things are still basically progressing as they have been the past couple of days. I don't want to say people are listening because it's New Orleans. They never listen. I will say this though, curious thing out here in the hot zone. Past couple days, I've noticed going into just up here to the Walgreens and the Walmarts to do and run supplies, that the feeling is starting to get heavier, meaner. I don't know what to make of that. We'll see where that goes. I know that a lot of our quarter rats that we're talking to have said that the quarter feels very, very, very dangerous right now. Going out, walking around, walking down to Rouse's and doing their stuff there that they need to do, that there's a feeling in the air that it's dangerous and heavy. And I'm starting to feel that when I go out to go to Walgreens or Walmart and that sort of thing. So we'll see where that goes. Evie is doing better. It comes, if any of you guys catch this, it comes in waves. She'll go feeling just fine for a couple of hours, has zero energy, and then her temperature will go up for a little bit. We get her laid down and just chillaxing, temperature will drop back, and it's waves. And for any of you guys who have ever met and or know Evie, trying to keep her down on the couch is like trying to keep a pissed off dragon chilling on the couch. So, but she is doing good. She is doing better. And we'll keep you guys updated on how that goes. Right in Midtown. I'm trying to read real quick. Yeah, we're starting to see a lot of more of an explosion in our gutter punk population rolling in from different cities. So we'll see where that goes. But other than that, y'all, I wanted to jump back on and give you guys the story of Zac and Addy. I want to thank everybody so very, very much for coming in and sitting down with me today. Don't forget to friend us on YouTube. A lot of you guys have done that. Huge mad respects for that. Thank you so very much. Pump the signal. Boost that signal, guys. It's one of the biggest things you guys can do for us is boosting the signal, getting it out there. We are getting ready to go live with the streaming channel. We're getting some of the small little bugs fixed on that. So we will be going live here in the next day or so. Go like our YouTube channel. Go up there. Smash that like button. Hit the subscribe button for us. Give it a thumbs up if you guys enjoy the content. As always, the donation buttons are there if you guys want to help support the channel and support Evie and I in this time of this outbreak. So other than that, y'all, I do apologize that the energy is a little bit lower today. Like I said at the start of this, Evie and I stayed up all night long binge watching a TV show on Netflix, which was epically awesome. So it was a lot of fun. But so I'll be up on live tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. If anything changes, I will post all to you lovely people. So from here in the hot zone of New Orleans, to all of my fam out there in the digital world, much honor, loyalty, love, and respect. Stay safe, y'all. Stay healthy. See you on the flip side. Peace out, guys.